Greetings to everybody out there in the NoDQ galaxy. Welcome to NoDQ&A video here on NoDQ.com and the YouTube channel. As I mentioned on the previous video, I am bringing back the NoDQ Super Chat Championship starting with this video today. If you're watching this on the premiere, you have a chance to become the NoDQ Super Chat Champion. Leave a super chat. The biggest super chat will be acknowledged on the next video. You will be the super chat spotlight question and you will officially be recognized as the super chat champion. Now, with that being said, let's get down to your questions. This question comes from Fahad. Don't you think that too many part-timers are reducing the quality of WWE? I agree on that completely. WWE, unfortunately, feels like they have to rely on the legends because WWE has been unable to make new larger-than-life superstars. It's been a while since we've seen somebody reach that level. The closest thing we've had is Roman Reigns, and Reigns has been a very polarizing figure in the company. But yeah, WWE feels in order to pop a rating or get people to try out the network, you got to bring in one of those old guys. And in Saudi Arabia, they want the legends. So that's what leads to Undertaker coming back, Triple H coming back. When it's WrestleMania, you got to have the big stars from the past come back to try and make the event special. That's what WWE has been doing, and it works short term for the moment, whether it's WrestleMania or the Saudi Arabia show, but long term, yeah, it doesn't really help the company for the rest of the year because fans are conditioned to think that the legends are the only ones that are stars. They're the only ones that matter. This question comes from Jason Bush. He asks, do you eventually see Hangman Adam Page and Kenny Omega's tag team ending with one of them turning heel on the other? If that is the case, who do you think should be the one to turn heel? I believe that was the original plan in AEW for these guys to eventually split, and it's been teased for the longest time that Adam Page would be the one to turn heel. He's been the outcast of the group. It somewhat had that Sting and Lex Luger vibe from WCW where the two were friends, but one guy was really not on the same page with the other guys. Lex Luger was the heel, and Lex Luger did not get along with Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan. They were Sting's allies. Similar thing here where Adam Page has been part of the Elite, but he's a bit of a loner, an outcast. He does his own thing. The thing is, Adam Page has gotten very over with the fans. The cowboy shit, that whole gimmick has been working well for him, and he is arguably more popular than he's ever been in AEW or at any other point in his career. So I don't know if they're going to turn him heel. When it's all said and done, it could be Omega that goes heel. I would not be shocked if Omega was the one that ended up turning heel, and that could freshen him up a little bit. As great as Omega is as a babyface, one could argue that maybe he needs the heel turn at this point just to turn things around with him. It feels like Omega has gotten a bit stale in AEW. He's flatlined from his peak of popularity in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So we'll see. If anybody turns heel, I could see it being Omega, and that could also be a swerve too because we're all expecting Page, and then it would be Omega of all people that would betray the Elite and go off on his own. So anything's possible. This question comes from Oladipo for MVP. He says, has the Alexa Bliss babyface turn been a flop? I don't think so. I think Alexa does do a better job as a heel. However, I think her and Alexa Bliss have a lot of chemistry together, and I think they work well as a babyface tag team. I'm enjoying it. It's a change of pace, and I think Alexa does the babyface role pretty well. I think she's better as a heel, but it's not like she's a terrible babyface. I'm fine with it, and I think as a singles, Alexa would be better as a heel, but I think with Nikki, there's a dynamic between the two of them and a chemistry, and I think they work fine as baby faces. They're doing well as tag team champions. I don't have a problem with it personally. This question comes from Mr. Yuck. Do you see a resurgence of managers and or factions in WWE? Who do you think could benefit being in a stable or working with a mouthpiece? Of the current superstars, please build a heel and face team you would love to manage. I think that managers are definitely useful in wrestling. For the longest time, Vince McMahon has reportedly been against the idea of managers, feeling that managers are too outdated. You know, it's from a different era, the 1980s, but I would love to see it. Zelina Vega has been doing well with her group. And as far as people that would benefit from having a mouthpiece, anybody that struggles to cut promos, Andrade's in a good spot. Pretty much anybody in WWE right now that is not a great promo has somebody talking for them. And you could also have babyface managers. There's also that. Somebody like Ricochet, I think, could really benefit from having a babyface manager, somebody to get him over in the promos. Ricochet is not a great promo. Humberto is another guy that I think could use a mouthpiece. And both of those guys, Ricochet and Humberto, you cannot really turn them heel. They're flashy wrestlers. They're known for their high spots and doing the flashy moves off the top and the dives and all that, the acrobatics. So I think those guys could really benefit from a babyface manager. I'd like to see them maybe form a group, Cedric Alexander. You could form this super babyface group with these agile, high-flying baby faces. Just give them somebody to talk for them that can put them over on the mic. This question comes from SCW Wrestling Channel. Hey Aaron, hope you are doing well. Glad to see you back doing the Q&A series once again on NoDQ.com and YouTube. Which underrated and lesser-known pay-per-views would you recommend to watch on the WWE Network during lockdown? That's a great question. As far as lesser-known pay-per-views, the top of my list would be the Canadian/Calgary Stampede from 1997. One of the best WWE pay-per-views ever, and it was short. It was only like a 2-hour show. It was towards the end of the In Your House era, and that main event was fantastic and just a fun show to watch. I recommend that one. Vengeance 2005 with the Hell in a Cell match between Triple H and Batista. That was a very memorable pay-per-view that has been somewhat forgotten about. There are a couple of WCW pay-per-views I would recommend, like Great American Bash 96, Bash at the Beach 97, Spring Stampede 94 was one of WCW's better pay-per-views. That one had some really interesting matches on it. I remember the Nasty Boys against Cactus Jack and Max Payne. That match was awesome. That was crazy. That show was in Chicago, and that was a lot of fun. So those are some of the pay-per-views I would recommend checking out if you haven't seen them already. This question comes from Colin Andrew at NoDQ Colin Andrew. He says, with what we've seen so far, where would you rank The Undertaker's Last Ride documentary on the best wrestling documentaries of all time? It's definitely up there among the best documentaries because it really opens up to The Undertaker in a way we've never seen before. We've seen documentaries with wrestlers, but none quite as in-depth as this one with how much we've had so far. As I'm doing this video, we're only 3 to 4 parts into the series. We've really gotten to learn a lot about Mark Calloway and how he thinks and how he operates. We've gotten to see him on a personal level that we've never seen before. And even in other documentaries, we really don't see all that much behind the curtain. We're seeing it all pretty much with The Undertaker. We're seeing his personal life. We're seeing him in the gym. We're seeing him struggle with injuries, following him around and all this, knowing that there would be at some point a documentary documentary about him. We really haven't seen something like that over the years. WWE has produced some great documentaries, but I don't think all that much long-term effort was put into it, where it was several years in the making. This Undertaker documentary, the project started 3 years ago, so there was a lot of time and effort put into this that we really haven't seen up to this point. A lot of documentaries, they would just bring the guy in for an interview and have some matches, and it would be released on a DVD, and it would be really solid. WWE has put out a lot of great documentaries on DVD and released some documentaries on the network, but this one I think has really been the most extensive one that we've seen up to this point from WWE. I want to see more of these. I want to see these 5-6 parters on guys like Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, and so on. I have this question from Fahad. Whom do you think is the best emerging wrestler in the business right now? I'd have to go with Keith Lee. As I've said before, I think Keith Lee has a lot of potential to be a top player in WWE. When I think of guys that could potentially carry the company, could potentially be the next John Cena or Roman Reigns, the next flagship of the company, Keith Lee is one of those guys. He's got the charisma, he's got the personality, he's got the in-ring skills. The guy can move like a cruiserweight, but he's built like a heavyweight. He has all the tools, all the attributes, in my opinion. He checks all the boxes when you look at somebody with star potential. I see that in Keith Lee, and I think that he would be my guy to go with at this point as the person who could carry WWE in the future. And we saw at Survivor Series with Roman Reigns. He held his own. He can hang with the big dogs, no pun intended. And I think the guy's great. He hasn't seemed to be dealing with any serious injuries yet, although once he's working on the main roster full time, he'll be put to the test. So we'll see what happens with him. But I think as far as potential goes, he's got it. But as JR would say, you cannot make a living on potential. That will wrap it up for this edition of NoDQ&A video. Thank you all so much for watching and supporting NoDQ.com. The Super Chat Championship will continue for the next video, so get your Super Chats ready. The single biggest Super Chat donation on the next video will lead to a new Super Chat champion, or will the current champion retain? That remains to be seen. Thank you all again for watching. Subscribe, turn on notifications so you know when the next premiere is coming, and I will see you guys next time.